it's about that time again to add a new project to the Auto Obsessive Garage. Welcome back to the Auto Obsessive Garage. Chadwick with you again for the start of a new project series. As you can see, this fine automobile that was backed into the garage today is a 1988 Isuzu Trooper. What makes it cool, other than just being an Isuzu Trooper, which is usually enough to qualify as cool, is that this is a 5-speed manual with only 2 doors. So the perfect combination for a vintage truck. The title of this episode is a little misleading because there are a few more than 0 issues. That was actually an homage to the old Joe Isuzu commercials back in the 80s, where he totally lied about the car and somehow it still got put in the commercials. That couldn't be done today because we don't understand the thing called sarcasm anymore. But regardless, I'm gonna introduce you guys to the vehicle, this nice new truck, our new adventure rig once it's done, and I'm gonna go over the existing issues because there are some. Let's get in the Auto Obsessive Garage and do a little intro. Anyway, welcome to the Auto Obsessive Garage. My 1988 Isuzu Trooper 2. Pretty awesome truck. Little backstory. My father had one of these when I was pretty young, probably around, I want to say 12. He had an earlier model, but still, we used to have some fun with this thing. Took it hunting, fishing. One great memory is we were in a sand pit doing some light off-roading, and we got it stuck in deep water, probably up to where the end of that 4-wheel drive, definitely over the tires. And we did have water coming into the cabin, and I think he hydrolocked the engine, and that was pretty fun. But guess what? Opened everything up, let it dry out, and that thing was still good to go after. So that was a pretty cool truck, and it brought back memories. These are getting hard to find in any kind of condition, especially running, driving, and looking somewhat decent. So I was super happy to track one down. And here it is, guys. What's special about this one is it's a manual, because of course it is, 5-speed manual. It also has under the hood the 2.6 liter big block 4-cylinder engine. It's a good one. It's a really good engine, pretty stout, 120 horsepower, not bad for the time. Obviously 4-wheel drive. Now these did have automatic locking hubs, but I'll show you it has manual hubs now because that tended to fail. Previous owner installed that. Everything else, yeah, it is what it is. So I'll give you a tour of the vehicle, kind of show you some of the issues with it, things we need to address to make it a pretty cool, reliable, adventure mobile. This thing does have 282,000 miles on it. Let's do a tour of the vehicle. I'm super pumped. Trucks like this really get me going. I just love it. It's like that good boxy shape. It looks awesome. But yeah, exterior tour. So first thing you notice, the paint taking on that kind of pink hue as red paint fades. I kind of don't doubt the ability that I have to bring this paint back to life. I think we can hit it with some compound polish it up, buff it quite a bit, and we get it to shine again, which would be pretty cool. We do have these faded decals, which I won't touch because that is just freaking awesome. We do have some aftermarket wheels. They look kind of like the NK saw blade. I think they were called NK saw blades. Pretty cool looking, kind of matches the period of the truck. Those are from the late 80s, early 90s, so that's pretty cool. These tires though, let me tell you about these tires. These are Falcon Rocky Mountains, and as you can see, they are just dry rotted all through, even in the tread, dry rotted. These are probably 20-year-old tires at this point, so they definitely need to be replaced. I reckon we can take care of that pretty easy. So new tires are definitely in the works. Coming up here, we do have a little crack, or actually a pretty pronounced crack right across the middle of the windshield there. Gonna be taking care of that. Front end, looking pretty good. We'll repaint that bumper. Of course, we'll do all our beautification stuff, but gotta love that boxy grille, the boxy headlights, the Isuzu decal there, just looking really good. A couple little dings all over. That's probably the worst one on the whole vehicle, to tell you the truth, so we'll pop that out, get it looking good. But these things are just cool. I mean, look how boxy it is. Roof looks to be good. Everything works. Getting a lot of wind noise from over here, so this weather seal might need to be looked into. Coming down the side, everything pretty straight. You got the 4-wheel drive logo on this side too. Isuzu Trooper 2 badge right on the side. What's cool is these windows. So they latch from the inside, but you can also, when they're unlatched, just open it right up. Kind of like a school bus back in the day. So it's a huge window. Whoever's in the back seat can actually look out pretty easily, and that's pretty awesome in itself. So I really love those sliding windows. Another cool feature of the vehicle. Come around to the rear. We've got a spare on there that's not usable. I'm gonna probably cover that with a spare cover just to make it look decent. Little bumper bang there. We might knock that out with a hammer. Come around here, 4-wheel drive badge down there, pretty cool. Got some cool stickers I've put on it. That's the only mod I've done so far, but let me show you what's cool about the opening of this. You have 2 doors in the rear of the Trooper. You got a large one that opens like that. Pretty cool, and I mean, there's space in here. We'll get the interior in a little bit. And then if you want to pop this little guy open, pretty straightforward too. Just a little latch down there. Swings open, so you get some pretty good accessibility, like for putting large things in. I mean, look at this space. That seat also folds down, the rear seat. As you can see, it is torn. We'll go over the interior in a little bit, but we'll patch that up. You can see the carpet's pretty rough, but it's better than the carpet in the rest of the vehicle, which actually doesn't exist. So. Roof liner, pretty good. It's like a vinyl material, but everything's pretty cool in here. I love the exposed red paint, which you can see up there too. Super cool look. But anyway, the doors, really awesome. So you have to shut the little guy first. Make sure he's shut. For the rear, you gotta pull this little guy right here. Pretty awesome. Same deal on this side, same badge. And it looks pretty good, pretty straight down the side. A little waviness there, a couple small things, but 283,000 miles on a Isuzu Trooper. Not bad at all. So exterior, I do rate this pretty high, especially if I can bring that paint back and touch up some of these spots. Not a bad looking truck at all. To our exterior bits, we are gonna take care of these windshield wiper arms. Nice and crusty, we'll have to sand those down pretty hard and then hit them up with some primer and paint. Same with both of them. Let's poke around the interior of this Isuzu Trooper. Coming in the driver's door, you'll notice that this handle is completely removed, so I'm gonna have to find a way to attach that again. It's also wrapped in some kind of, looks like athletic tape. I don't know what the story is there, but there's that red paint again on the inside, and I just love it. Very vintagey looking. The overall interior layout is super cool, super utilitarian, trucky looking in here, and that's what it should have done. This was built to be a truck. You can see this tape here on the steering wheel. What's happened is there's actually a crack all the way through the steering wheel, so I'm gonna be replacing that because I don't know what happened, whether something super sharp cut that or a seam ripped apart, but there's no seam, so who knows the story on that, but we'll replace that. Gauges still work. Pretty simple layout. You can see there the mileage, 283. Oh, I went over 283 just 2 miles ago. Cool, 283,000 miles on this truck. We got the gauges in the middle. I love the look of gauges. The Monteros kind of had a similar thing. Extra gauges on trucks are pretty cool, but these are kind of just your normal functional ones. You got oil pressure, you got your fuel and your temp, but they just look cool there. The best part of the truck, little 5-speed manual. There's your 4-wheel drive high and low selector. You got your e-brake, which is this crazy handle you pull out, and of course 3 pedals, as any vintage truck should be. Seats in general are in decent shape. Obviously right here we're gonna have to patch that. I don't know if I can sew that. I can try. I might be able to get some heavy duty thread. It might not look perfect, but yeah, we might be able to patch this up a little bit, but it's a truck, you know. Right here, this seam can definitely be sewn up, but the passenger seat really good overall. The dash isn't cracked apart or anything like that, so that's always good. Super simple in here. Now, it doesn't have AC. This truck never came with AC, and you can see there was a spot for a radio, but there isn't a radio in there, so I'm gonna go ahead and probably take that out and take all the speakers out. What I do wanna show you is this mechanical AC. So these old truck windows were super cool, and on the Trooper, you flip it all the way like that, and when you're driving, that wind is just buffeting you as you're going down the road. So technically has AC, right? I'll go with that. Roll up windows. All the manual features you could ever want. Back seats are pretty large here. Fit back there pretty nicely. You can see the speakers. I'll remove those, maybe make some block off plates, make it look nice. Something you might have noticed isn't here is the carpeting. So you'll see just the padding there, the kind of sound insulation, stuff like that. Same with the back seat. We need to get carpeting in this, not just floor mats, but an entire carpeting job. And the carpet tended to shred apart. It wasn't high quality originally. So we'll get some good carpeting here to match this kind of gray. It's like a brownish gray, but it's grayish interior. We'll make it look decent in here. I gotta have some kind of carpet. It's just a little too rough as it is. But as you can see, looks really cool in here. Big boxy design, so lots of space to store stuff and people. I like the interior a lot. It's a great truck and a great place to go on adventures in. Let's pop the Trooper's hood and see what lives under here. Ah, look at that big piece of metal. No, but seriously, this is the 2.6 liter fuel injected 4-cylinder. I'm a fan of this engine. I think it's one of the better engines the Trooper's got. They did later get a 2.8 V6, which is a GM engine that almost has the same power, so I kind of like this one. We have 120 horsepower, I want to say, and about 130 something foot-pounds of torque. So good numbers for a large 4-cylinder. 2.6 is a very large 4, but super simple layout under here. You've got a longitudinal engine, which makes timing belt water pumps an ease on this truck. The previous owner actually just did both of those, which is awesome. One less thing to worry about. And then everything else, so much space in here to work around. It's not cleaned up or anything under here. It's all very original and just, you know, good upkeep. So we're gonna do just basic stuff, guys. We do have NGK plug wires. I can see those. Those look to be good. I will be doing the plugs just as a maintenance item. We'll be doing the air filter, oil change on her. And then I don't know what else I'm gonna do under here. Probably not too much. I think I was hearing some bearing noise from either, yeah, that's a good one, the air pump, or it could be the alternator. I think power steering's fine, but I'm gonna listen in the future and diagnose which one of those is making that noise. They do make that kind of grinding noise in the bearings before they go bad, so best to catch that before it seizes and breaks the belt. But this is, I mean, this is pretty awesome. Yeah, the 2.6 I-Tech. So it's a great engine. It has a lot of personality. I kind of like it, you know, not very revvy. I think Redline's at 5,500, but it moves pretty good. It's peppy like a 4-cylinder, but has a good amount of torque and kind of fits the personality. This is a very low mileage truck, so I mean, this is a very low curb weight truck for its size, so it motivates it pretty good. You got all the stickers up here, the vacuum hose diagram and everything, so pretty original. I really do like that. It has all these little touches, but we'll get under here, clean it up, and do some basic maintenance on the vehicle. Also gonna do a coolant flush on the truck. It's always good to do this on high mileage trucks on a regular basis. It's not milkshaky, but it does have a little rusty hint towards it, and that just happens. These cooling systems can get a little crusty. So I might flush it a few times and then put some fresh coolant in there. That's really good for these older cooling systems, so that'll be on our list of things to do. Fresh coolant after a few flushes. Upon inspecting the valve cover super closely, you can see some wet oil on the sides, more towards the rear. It definitely warrants a valve cover gasket replacement. Should be pretty easy to get to. Might have to take off obviously some accessory hoses in this air tube for the intake, but pretty easy to get to. So I'll be pulling that off and doing that valve cover gasket. I wanted to show you guys the locking hubs here in the front. They are a Warren brand. Usually these automatic ones go bad and they just stop working, so you have to replace them with a manual locking hub. Now, there are a ton of aftermarket crappy cheap ones out there, and you get what you pay for with this stuff. Previous owner did put these Warren ones in, which are reputable and a good one, so that's awesome. I like that reliable solution. You don't want to cheap out there. Also, I can't really see too far in there, but when I shine a light in there, the brake rotors are pretty grooved. No vibration or anything when braking, but we're gonna do full pads and rotors and fluid on this truck too. So just wanted to point that out. Sorry, I don't have a good visual to go with that, but there's the Warrens, super cool. You get some tough stuff, you get out, you lock those bad boys in, 4 high, 4 low. You can go anywhere with your Trooper, and I love that. It's kind of a go anywhere kind of truck, isn't it? Let's explore under the truck where it's always hard to hide your most revealing problems. And we're actually not too bad under here, guys. For the mileage, not a lot of rust. You can see a lot of surface corrosion. This thing has seen some rain and off-road stuff, but it's honestly not that bad. I've got a bright light on it. You're just seeing a lot of surface corrosion. On that skid pad, I'll obviously paint that black, maybe do the control arms and things. Suspension part's pretty worn, but nothing failed, nothing clunking, nothing horrible, no play in the tires, so that part's fine. Now, the only thing leaking under here, unfortunately, is the crank seal. And every time you drive the vehicle, you will get 3 to 4 drops of oil, as you can see there on the floor. and that's about it. It won't drip anymore. It's just right after you run it when that crank is spinning. The bummer is, previous owner did the time about water pump maybe a year or two ago, and I was like, oh, bummer, you didn't do the crank seal when you're in there. And he said he didn't order it. He had a timeline he had to get it done by. So it's an easy job, which is one of those things, you know, if he didn't just do time about water pump, this stuff drives me crazy having any kind of leak. I would consider getting in there and doing that crank seal, but I'm not going to do it over again, especially a 2-year-old time about water pump with no mileage on it. But when it's time to do it again, you can bet your butt I'll be doing that crank seal again. And that's our 88 Isuzu Trooper, our new adventure mobile. It's going to be a blast. But it's time, guys, for the clipboard of doom. This clipboard of doom doesn't have a lot of impending doom for us. It's pretty short compared to my usual list. I don't know why I didn't increase the font, but we'll go with our tiny font because I'm used to doing a much larger list. And here we go on our Isuzu Trooper. Mechanical. What we need to address is the valve cover gasket. Saw a little oil seeping down the back. Pretty simple job. We'll replace that. We're gonna do spark plugs, oil change, air filter, coolant flush, brakes, and of course, really importantly, and probably most expensively, new tires. Those are important things. I'm making it sound small, but there are things that need to get taken care of. Time about water pump already done by previous owner, all the fluids by previous owner, so that's some good stuff. But yeah, those issues we'll have to resolve. Exterior of the vehicle is gonna need a little work to make it a little prettier. We'll try to restore that paint. I think it can be saved to some extent, or at least improved upon. We got the trim, the bumpers, the wiper arms. I'll bring that back to a shiny state of, I don't know, functionality. And of course a new windshield, because it is really cool to be able to see out of your truck when you're adventuring. Interior-wise, full carpet. Never put a full carpet in a car. An aftermarket carpet, I've always taken carpets out and replaced them with existing old carpets that are made for the vehicle. So hopefully it's a good fitment. It had good reviews, so we're gonna be doing that. We're gonna do, obviously, waterproof floor mats. It's a truck, it's gonna get dirty. I don't wanna put new carpet in just to mess it all up. We're gonna get a new steering wheel. The steering wheel's cut, which is weird. We'll take care of that. And then we're gonna do some seat repair. Seats are coming apart on the seams, so we're gonna repair that, make it look a little decent in there. I'm not going for glamorous. This is a $2,000 truck, guys, but I just wanna make it look that much better in the interior. And then obviously I'll remove the radio holder and the speakers, weight reduction, get our truck nice and lightweight for adventures. But anyway, not a major list. Some pretty good maintenance items. This truck is so cool. I do drive it quite a bit as it is, and I still enjoy it. There's something about rolling through those huge 5-speed gears in this nice truck, so yeah. It's cool, man. I love these old adventure trucks, and there's so much value out there, especially finding like a manual 2-door Trooper. So if you guys are into cool, cheap trucks, follow along for this series. It's gonna be a blast. I look forward to seeing you guys on future episodes of our Isuzu Trooper restoration. As always, guys, take care. We'll see you on the next one.